Have you ever wondered what happens when the whole world turns its back on you, when everyone laughs at your dreams, and when the task assigned seems like absolute madness? The story of a man named Noah will show us how, in those moments of ultimate challenge, faith, perseverance, and obedience can create extraordinary things, even saving an entire world on the brink of destruction. In an age where depravity, violence, and immorality covered the earth, God's heart was deeply grieved. He decided to wipe all life from the globe, cleansing all impurity. But in his boundless heart he found a righteous man, one who always walked in accordance with God's will, a man who had found grace in his eyes. That was Noah. And then, one day, God's voice echoed to Noah, an unimaginable command, a plan so grand it was hard to believe, a prophecy of an unprecedented catastrophe. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. You shall make rooms in the ark, and you shall pitch it inside and outside with pitch. God did not stop there. He also gave Noah specific instructions down to the smallest detail about its dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. About the number of decks, the door, and the window. A colossal, visceral, unprecedented, an architectural feat far beyond contemporary understanding, would be built to save Noah's family and every living creature on earth from the impending great flood. Imagine Noah, a man already in his 60s, standing in a dry, arid land where there had never been a sign of a great rain, hearing the command to build such an enormous ark. The first challenge was not building the ark, but preparing the ground, a simple yet arduous task. He had to level a vast area, perhaps the size of an entire field, compacting the soil firmly to create a solid foundation for this colossal structure. The land was dry and cracked under the scorching sun, yet at the same time he had to contend with continuous moisture from deep within the earth, ensuring the foundation would not sink or deform under the immense weight of the future ark. Every swing of the hoe, every time he leveled the earth with his bare hands and crude tools, was an affirmation of Noah's unwavering faith. Those around him looked with skepticism, mocking him, laughing at his crazy work. He's mad, they said. Rain, a flood here. But Noah did not waver. He knew what he was doing, for it was not his own will, but the command of the Almighty, who had given life to all creatures. After the ground was meticulously prepared, the next challenge loomed, no less immense. Materials: hundreds of giant cypress trees, the gopher wood God had specified, had to be felled from distant forests. Imagine the sight of ancient trees, towering to the sky, so massive that it would take dozens of men to embrace them, being cut down with crude axes and saws. Every chop, every saw stroke demanded extraordinary strength and perseverance. There was no modern machinery, no cranes or trucks. Each colossal log, weighing tons, had to be pulled, rolled, or carried by human strength and the power of draft animals, over rugged terrain, back to the construction site. It was an extremely difficult task, requiring immense strength, seamless coordination between Noah, his sons, and an unyielding will of iron. Every timber brought back was a vivid testament to the unwavering perseverance, to the rock-solid faith of Noah and his family, who had placed their complete trust in God's promise. With the materials ready after months of arduous labor, Noah and his sons began the construction phase. This was not merely building a small boat to cross a river. This was creating a colossal architectural marvel, a floating fortress capable of containing the life of the entire world. They started by joining large wooden beams with strong mortise and tenon joints to form the keel, the sturdy backbone of the ark. Then, each curved rib was carefully shaped and carved, then erected to form the magnificent hull, as tall as a 3-story building. Every joint had to be perfectly secure, not a single gap allowed to exist. Every timber had to be placed with absolute precision, for the survival of all creatures would depend on its stability. Thousands of hammer blows echoed, millions of meticulous chisel marks resonated throughout the construction site, mingling with the sound of falling sweat and heavy breaths. Day after day, year after year, the ark's shape gradually emerged, a majestic yet mysterious form amidst a world immersed in indifference, mockery, and disbelief. An ark designed to withstand a global flood had to be absolutely watertight, not a single drop allowed to enter. Noah followed God's instructions, covering the ark with pitch, a natural, flexible, and durable bitumen both inside and out. This thick, black, glossy layer of pitch not only provided perfect waterproofing but also protected the wood from rot and termites, ensuring the ark could float safely on the water for a long time, facing the most violent waves. After the exterior structure was complete, it was time for the complex interior. The ark was divided into 3 distinct decks, each with countless separate compartments, meticulously built. This was not just a shelter, it was a scientifically organized miniature ecosystem. Each compartment was designed to house one or more different species of animals, with careful consideration for space, weight balance to prevent capsizing, natural ventilation, and even storage for food and water for a journey lasting over a year. Everything had to be perfect, from tiger cages to bird nests, from cattle troughs to shelters for the smallest insects, all prepared with utmost dedication and meticulousness. And then, after decades of tireless labor, Noah's Ark was almost complete. Only one final detail remained: a detail full of symbolic meaning, a single door for life, the door of the ark. This door was not just an entrance, it was the most vulnerable point, but also the strongest symbol of salvation, of the grace God bestows upon those who obey. Noah built that door with his own hands, but it was God who would close it when the time came, sealing life within and locking everything out. Not long after, an unprecedented sight unfolded, astonishing even the most skeptical. From every corner of the earth, pairs of animals, large animals, small animals, birds of the air, reptiles, insects, came in droves to Noah's ark. There were no growls, no chaos or attacks between predators and herbivores. They came in an orderly, peaceful manner, as if guided by an invisible hand, controlled by a supernatural force. This was an obvious miracle, a powerful testament to divine intervention, to the absolute power of the Creator, and undeniable. An eloquent testament to divine intervention, to the absolute power of the Creator, an undeniable affirmation of the truth and the warnings Noah had preached for so long. That sight was not merely a miracle, but also a profound reminder of obedience and faith. Noah, with his family and all the chosen animals, entered the ark, and then the most astonishing thing happened. The colossal door of the ark, built by Noah, was not closed by him. It was God himself, with infinite power, who gently shut that door, sealing life within, separating it from a world sinking into corruption and disobedience. Immediately after, the sky began to change. Pitch black clouds gathered, covering everything. An unprecedented rain began to pour down, not ordinary drizzles, but torrents of water, as if the floodgates of heaven had been flung open. At the same time, deep beneath the earth, colossal subterranean springs burst forth, erupting onto the surface, turning everything into a raging sea. The earth trembled, and the water level rose rapidly, submerging trees, hills, and every trace of life not under God's protection. In that moment, Noah's ark, with all its weight and immensity, began to sway. The roar of surging water and the shriek of the wind echoed through the space, but then, slowly, miraculously, it began to rise. It did not sink, nor capsize, but gently lifted itself from the ground, floating on the waters that were gradually engulfing the entire world. It was a moment of terror and also a moment of faith rewarded. All of Noah's efforts, all his obedience, all his belief had been proven true. For 40 days and 40 nights, the rain did not cease. The waters rose higher and higher, until even the tallest mountains were submerged. The entire earth transformed into a vast ocean, and Noah's ark was the sole beacon of life, adrift on that chaotic surface. But the journey did not end with 40 days of rain. The great flood continued, and the waters remained high for 150 days. Every day, inside the ark, Noah's family faced immense challenges. They not only survived, but also had to sustain life. They cared for thousands of species, from giant beasts to the smallest insects. This demanded unceasing dedication, a strict work schedule, from feeding and cleaning stalls to ensuring the ventilation system worked well and maintaining hygiene to prevent disease. Each day was a battle against monotony, confinement, and the fear of an uncertain future. They did not know when the waters would recede, when they could set foot on dry land again. But in that waiting, the faith of Noah and his family did not waver. They understood that God had promised, and God would keep his word. The ark was not just a physical refuge. It was also a symbol of hope, a living testament to the protection of the Almighty. After many months adrift on the boundless waters, when loneliness and waiting seemed endless, the Bible tells us that God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark. A mighty wind was sent, blowing over the waters, and slowly, the water level began to recede. Gradually, the mountain peaks began to emerge, and then, on the 17th day of the 7th month, Noah's ark finally rested on the mountains of Ararat. It was an unforgettable moment, a boundless relief. But even with the ark resting, Noah's family still had to wait. The water had not fully receded. The ground was still wet and uninhabitable. To check if the ground was dry, Noah released a raven. The raven flew back and forth, finding nowhere to perch because water still covered everything. 7 days later, Noah released a dove. The dove also flew away, but then returned to the ark because it found no dry place to rest its feet. Noah waited another 7 days. Then he released the dove a second time. This time, when the dove returned in the evening, it carried a fresh olive leaf in its beak. That was the sign. A sign of life reviving, of a new beginning, of hope renewed. Noah knew that the waters had significantly receded and life had begun to sprout again on the earth. He patiently waited another 7 days, then released the dove a third time. This time, the dove did not return. That was the clear signal. The ground was dry and safe to step out onto. In total, Noah and his family had been in the ark for over a year, a journey lasting more than 370 days. Finally, God spoke to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds, the animals, and all the creatures that move along the ground so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it." When the door of the ark was opened, brilliant sunlight streamed inside, and the scent of damp earth and fresh vegetation filled the air. Noah's family, along with all the animals, stepped out of the ark. It was not just stepping out of a boat. It was stepping into a new world, a completely new beginning for life on earth. How magnificent and moving that scene must have been. The first thing Noah did upon setting foot on dry land was to build an altar to God. He offered sacrifices of thanksgiving, expressing profound gratitude for the salvation, for the protection God had granted him and his family, along with all life on earth. Noah's sincere thanksgiving touched God's heart. And then, God made a great covenant with Noah and with all humankind, a covenant that would endure forever through generations. God said, "I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life." The rainbow, with its vibrant and ethereal bands of color, appeared in the sky, becoming an eternal symbol of hope, of promise, of God's infinite love and mercy. Every time we see a rainbow, it is a reminder that even though life can be full of storms and challenges, there is always a promise of peace, of a new beginning, and of the Creator's never-changing love. The story of Noah's Ark is not just an ancient tale of a great flood and a boat. It is a profound lesson in unwavering faith, absolute obedience, and the power of hope. Noah's Ark is an act of belief, a testament to salvation, and powerful evidence of God's boundless love for life. In our own lives, we too will face our own storms, challenges, doubts, times when everything seems to be sinking. But Noah's story teaches us that if we have faith, if we persistently obey righteous principles, and if we never stop hoping, we will find our own ark. It may not be a giant wooden boat, but it is the resilience of the soul, the belief in a better future, the perseverance to overcome all difficulties. Remember, after every storm there is always a rainbow, and after every challenge there is always an opportunity to start anew, stronger, wiser, and more hopeful than ever before. That is the eternal message that Noah's Ark brings to each of us.